guilty.
Oh no. Furina.
We shall now turn to the oratrice mécanique d'analyse cardinale to render the final verdict on the charges. According to the judgment of the oratrice mécanique d'analyse cardinale, Farina is...
Well, what's wrong? What's the oratrice's verdict?
Enggak bersalah nih kan?
No, the oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Oke.
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus: the Hydra to be punished via the death sentence.
Wah anjir, hukum mati, what the hell?
The death sentence?
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, as well as its recommendations for criminal sentences,
Masih ngikutin ini kah? Mesin itu?
is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Yeah! Even Fauché wasn't sentenced to death by the oratrice. You know, the...
Indeed. Not only is Farina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was also to prove that Farina has never been the Hydro Archon in the first, but now, the oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydro Archon. What does this mean?
Keluarga. Berarti si Furina masih keluarga dong?
Excuse me if I may interrupt.
Ngomong, Freminet, ngomong!
Is the trial still going?
Fremine! Oh, you finally made it. I assume this means you've completed your mission?
Mm-hmm. Any mission Father assigns to me will all...
Is that the first prophecy slate?
Buset, dia nyelam ke enggak. Bukan dia nggak nyelam ke primordial, tenang.
Huh. So the knave privately arranged for Fremine to try and find the missing slate.
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. But has the trial already concluded? Then doesn't that mean I've come too late? Oh,
Telat dikit gak apa-apa.
Father will be disappointed in me.
Baru berapa menit? 3 menit paling.
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to review the record left on the slate.
Terawang nih, Violet.
Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates, and we'd like you to come here and confirm their contents.
Malah gue disuruh turun.
Huh? So what do you see? What is it?
I believe I've now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime. It has to do with Fontaine's lost history.
Okay.
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? Oh, wait, no, that's Farina.
However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of the...
Pusing.
Slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro Archon using her divine power, and then the Oceanids turn into humans.
Oke, batu pertama intinya Archon Hydro yang sebenarnya itu kayak merubah seseorang menjadi Oceanid.
The second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky, and the Hydro Archon and her people worshipping it together. But the heavens still brought judgment down upon them.
Gambar kedua berdoa, tapi doanya kagak dikabulin.
The third slate shows the Hydro Archon sinking into the sea surrounded by many people.
Batu ketiga, Archon Hydro-nya tenggelam.
Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontainians have been talking about. People dissolving into the sea, the Hydro Archon crying on her throne, and so on.
Gambar keempat, si Furina cuma duduk sendiri. Oke, kalau yang batu pertama, orang Fountaine bisa larut ke air laut primordial dan menjadi Oceanid. Itu adalah bukti asal-usul orang Fountaine yang sebenarnya. Gambar kedua, sebuah putusan yang belum pernah diturunkan sebelumnya, muncul di pengadilan dan diturunkan kepada Archon Hydro yang berdosa apa yang diperbuatnya. Oke. Gambar ketiga, Navia jatuh. Nah, menjadi runtuhan rafia jatuh ke dalam air primordial mengandung air primordial. Oh berarti gambar ketiga itu kayak si Navia. Berarti si Navia udah diramal. Nah kalau ini nih, Violet.
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the seawater. The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Perhaps this means that her sin was actually Fontaine's original sin. Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by the people of Poisson in a court within her consciousness. The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meripede was the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass no matter what. The prophecy's contents can all be verified by recent events. If we combine what we know together, loads of truths should come to light.
Udah dong, gue ngomongin ini lagi. Durasinya makan banyak.
Incredible. Linny, did you hear that?
We're not real humans.
Hah? Berarti mereka bukan manusia tapi keasyanit.
All Fontainians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon, with Oceanids as their basis.
Oh, orang-orang Fountaine Oceanid, okay.
The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontainians could dissolve in primordial seawater, and how all the girls Vacher dissolved were also turned into Oceanids.
Ya berarti cuma orang Fountaine doang yang jadi Oceanid kalau misalnya kena air primordial.
Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around for a trial. All of them in the shape of Oceanids.
Ya itu tuh di dunia kematian.
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that she probably angered Celestia by creating humans without prior permission.
The Hydro Archon's true sin?
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within...
Yeah, isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled in the fourth slate? In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain weeping on her throne. Only that... Did Paimon get all that right?
Oh berarti ramalan Fountaine bakal tenggelam itu kayak apa ya bisa dibilangnya penyucian dosa ya, kalau bisa dibilang tuh masuk neraka dulu baru ke surga gitu.
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is impressive that you've already managed to connect so many pieces of the truth. However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also been etched with an additional layer of hidden information using a... When we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information recorded in the slates. But since we only had 3 slates at the time...
Ayo nih Violet, jelasin. Terawang dari tadi kayak malah kita yang berteori.
I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fountaine as well. I will try to briefly summarize it for you. Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontainians and the sin of the Hydro Archon were both correct. In the Fountaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon their desire to become of a similar kind.
Oh orang-orang Fountaine itu sebenarnya makhluk kayak gitu, terus iri sama manusia.
However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon as one of the 7 did not possess the authority to create a new form of human life. Not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars by appropriating the power of this planet's primordial sea. She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanids' blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics in the process. But if Fontainians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints and return to the sea. As a result, their forms would collapse, and they would be reverted to their original forms as Oceanids. Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race. And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the people of Fountaine first came into being.
Nah, banyak teori lagi nih. Di dunia ini sebenarnya manusia dari mana sih?
So we were all Oceanids before we turned into human beings?
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontainian, but it does answer a lot of our questions.
Berarti dosa si Furina, Archon Hydro tuh bikin manusia ya?
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. A key point of the visual on the third slate is how all the individuals depicted in the water are humans rather than Oceanids.
Nah itu.
They have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in this slate is not water from the primordial sea.
Apa dong?
The nation of Fountaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of trials and justice. Instead of being the literal element, the water in the scene symbolizes judgment. You may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was surrounded by that of many others. Therefore, the meaning of the third slate is that the people of Fountaine shall try the Hydro Archon at the court of justice.
Sekarang berarti.
Yes, it refers to our present situation.
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, even though we decided to put on this trial to avoid fulfilling the prophecy, in truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy foretold.
What should we do?
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled.
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth slate will also be fulfilled soon?
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy in your deductions. About the fourth slate, you probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of Meripede served as the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass, yes? However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, that eruption could in fact only be a small warning of something far worse to come. As for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe you've already encountered it once before.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside the primordial sea, right?
Oh, berarti paus itu dong yang ada di laut primordial. Iya, bener juga sih. Soalnya dari warnanya juga kayak mirip gitu.
The truth, the original sin, the trial, and the root cause of the disaster.
Berarti akarnya ini nih si paus nih, si Cilde.